guys, welcome back to the Era 404 podcast. This is Ariann. I'm here with Leah.
Hello.
And Blake is here today as well. I guess he's not going to say hello. That's okay.
Oh, okay. My mic is muted.
It's silent. All right.
We're just lying. We're just pretending someone else is here. So today we're gonna, it's just kind of another shoot the shit thing for a little bit. We're gonna talk about some stuff that's happened to us, and then we're gonna go into more conspiracy theories because we have Blake here, and we like to listen to him talk about stuff. So that was a very well educated response.
Yes.
So, anyways. Leah, I know you have some interesting things to talk about, so do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure, I'll go.
All right.
So we went on vacation this weekend. Woo! We went to Salem, Massachusetts, and my uncle took us on his boat, and we all got fried. So Blake was, I think, the worst in the aftermath.
My shoulders are pretty good now, but they're really bad.
Yeah. I swallowed wrong. Anyways, wrong pipe. Yeah, so we all got fried. They were deep sea fishing for a bit, but, I guess, nothing was happening, so they called it. And then we went to the beach, and that was essentially it. It was a nice, fun, relaxing time. But I had an injury with my ear previously from this, which Ariann remembers.
Yep.
And basically I've had it since we've known each other, is that for some reason my left ear, I don't know how to describe it. It's hollower, I'll say, than my right one. I don't know, the technical term, but it's wider or whatever. So water is more subject to whatever. It's easier to get in that ear and get stuck. Blah. So I used to get swimmer's ear all the time when I was younger in that ear. So I didn't do what I was supposed to do a few weeks prior. I went swimming, ironically with Blake and my sister and brother-in-law, and they splashed water in my ear and I couldn't get it out. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'm used to this. I put a Q-tip in my ear, which you're not supposed to do. And ever since then, my ear has been, really weird. It's been, echoey, and I'm just like, okay, whatever, it'll go away. So then we go on this vacation, I jump in the ocean, all of a sudden I hear, in my ear. And I was like, uh-oh. Couldn't get any water out. I put peroxide in it, water drops in it, swimmer's ear drops in it, couldn't get it out. So now I'm annoyed, so I'm like, okay, fuck this. We come back from vacation, I go to work, I wake up the next morning, and I'm deaf. I can't hear anything. So now I'm freaking out that I basically lost my hearing. So I go to work, and from the get-go, I'm like, I'll wait till the nurse gets here. I'll have her look at my ear and basically have her tell me what I should do. So it's I think it was around 9:30 because I usually go around break. So I went down to her office, and I told her what was up. She looked in my right ear first just to see, compare it. Then she looked at my left ear, and it was just dead silent. And she was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm looking at here. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, I can't see your eardrum. I'm like, what do you mean you can't see my eardrum? She's like, I can't see it. I don't know where it is. And I'm like, what are you saying to me? She's like, you should probably go to the hospital. And I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm not going. So I went to urgent care, and I had the doctor look into it. And he was like, I'm going to flush your ear, and we're going to find out if that helps or not. Because he thinks, which is common for people that have, an open ear like I do, or, more open than normal.
Yeah.
Because I have an abnormal, whatever it's called. I can't think of it right now. I just don't care enough to Google it. But anyways, he said sometimes when we get water trapped in our ear, and it doesn't go away, and then we, clean out our ear with a Q-tip, we push wax back there, and we trap the water. And then he thinks I got water in it again, and I did the same thing, so I had wax, water, just trapped. And that's what was deafening me. So he flushed it out, twice. I was able to hear. He looked in there, and my eardrum's all scratched up. So I had to get these medicine drops I had to put in when I wake up in the morning just to kind of heal it. And yeah, but I can hear. I didn't fuck up my eardrum, thank God. But that was yesterday. And then today, I injured my finger at work. So I'm on a roll here so far for the week. I was putting in like a metal sheet guard for the door, and it got stuck. Because people are sloppy with the chemicals. The chemical dried, got all sticky, so I couldn't get the door in. So I moved my hand to the side of this metal sheet door, which you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to be on the top. I moved it to the side and jammed it to the left to get it to slide. Needless to say, it worked, but it took my finger with it and sliced it. Like, sliced it. So I'm screaming bloody murder. I'm holding my finger. I'm squirting blood. I'm not fucking joking. Squirting. And so everyone's rushing over. They're trying to clean the machine. Some girl wrapped up my finger. She's rushing me to the nurse. And I'm looking at it, and it's literally maybe... It's almost like I got a blood blister, and it popped at the same time. So I'm not too worried about it. But they're freaking out. And I'm at the nurse. She wrapped it and everything. And then she's like, do you want to go home? Do you want to go to the doctor? And I'm like, fuck no. Like, I want to work. Like, I want to be here at least for more than 4 hours this week. But, nope, that's my week so far, is I just keep injuring myself. And I'm ready for my mouth to be injured next. I don't know why. I just have a feeling it was my ear, my finger. Something's gonna happen.
You're gonna take a bite out of something that's like way too hot
you know
for
what?
your mouth.
I did bite my lip today in lunch. So.
Oh, well, there you go. So that counts.
Yep, that counts. That counts.
Well, you keep that attitude up, and I'll give you one pow right in the kisser.
But that's my week. We went on vacation, had a great time. I'm actually going again in 2 weeks' time because I get 4 days off of work for 1 day for like inventory. Like we can't come in at all because everything has to stay put so they can get an accurate count of everything.
Right.
And then that's a Friday. So then Saturday, Sunday, and then we have that Monday off because we're essential employees and our company hasn't done anything for us. So they're just kind of, it's called a day of thanks. So they're like, here, have this free paid day off. And we're like, wow, thanks. This is almost better than the fucking ice cream you gave us every week. Like, literally they call it Mr. Dingling. And they're like, here, have a blue ticket to get one free ice cream. And we're like, wow, thanks. Can I have the money? Or, like, can I have more money instead of ice cream? But it's whatever. So I'll be down there again in probably for like 2 days or so.
Nice. You have a very hurtful, bleeding week.
Yeah. I mean, my ear, I don't think my ear bled. I don't know. She never let me see it. She just kept pouring it out, what was coming out of my ear. So.
Yeah. No, that shit sucks, though.
It felt very strange. Like, it didn't hurt. Like, I had my eyes flushed before, and that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks, especially when the numbing solution wears off. Oh, my God. I want to just put my head through a grinder. But the water flush in my ear wasn't too bad. I didn't really mind it. It felt kind of relaxing, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I had to get that done because I was supposed to have tubes put in when I was younger, and they never did that. So I have that issue with the wax.
She mid-flush in my ear goes, does your ear feel better? Is it still clogged? And I'm looking at her like, I don't know. There's water
I wouldn't
in my
know
ear.
because there's still something in my fucking ear clogging it.
But yeah, it took a few times, and then he had to like scrape like my ear or like something like that. He had to put something in my ear, and I could feel it scraping. And he's like, your eardrum's a bit scratched up. And I'm like, gee, I fucking wonder why.
Gee.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, so I have to be more careful. If I go in the water, I have to put a earpiece in or whatever. Ear guard in. I can't think of it right now.
Earplug?
Yep. There it is. I have to put an earplug in my left ear. Yeah. So that's fun.
All right, so, Blake, you want to tell us about this mountain story?
Oh yeah, I nearly died. It's definitely the closest I have ever come to dying for real. Pretty much, me and some friends are trying to become 46ers, which is where you climb the 46 high peaks of the Adirondacks. And we had made a plan that day to do 4 mountains in one run, which was Colvin, Blake, then Nippletop into Dial. They were like, it's like almost like the perfect storm because we just planned it right after I got back from Boston, and my shoulders were so burned that I didn't think I would be able to stand wearing a backpack. So instead I wore like a fanny pack.
Oh, you still have to send me that picture.
Yeah. I forgot. I tried sending it to you on the mountain, but didn't go, I guess. But anyways, the fanny pack, it could carry like an okay amount of stuff, but way less than I would normally want. I could hardly carry any water. I had to give some water to Ben and Mick to carry. So when we went and actually summited Colvin, the path from Colvin to Blake, it's funny because the mountain's named after me, of course.
He hiked his own mountain.
I was totally there before the mountain. But you have to summit Colvin, de-summit Colvin. You immediately go into another rise where you summit Blake, and then when you leave Blake, you have to re-summit Colvin to get back to the main path. So essentially, we went up Colvin twice and up Blake once. And then we got to the intersection to where we could have gone, like, the path that led to Colvin or the path that led to Nippletop. And I told the guys, I was like, man, we're looking at like a 13-mile round trip right now without those other two peats, and I'm pretty tired. I'm low on water, which was not good. I had been rationing like throughout the day because I had so little because of my bad situation. But I'm very susceptible to peer pressure, and they peer pressured me into doing the other two peats because it would only add 5 miles to the total trip length.
Yeah, I messaged Mick and I was like, dude, you killed my boyfriend. He goes, yeah, we should have listened to him when he said he was tired.
No. They also didn't realize at the time that both of them, like, none of us had packed enough food. So by the end of it, we were all starving, on top of being, like, near severe dehydration. But we went and we summited Nippletop fine, right? Turns out it's called Nippletop for a very good reason. You basically get up one hump, which is like, the boob, and then there's a really steep incline that comes up like a cone, and that's the nipple. And that's why it's called Nippletop. But,
Google it right now and be very careful about how I word this.
Yes. Nippletop Mountain Adirondacks is what I would do.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Okay, continue with your story. I am listening.
But
oh, phew, I did.
We never found any like running streams. We found a pond up there, and I picked up a frog and threw it at Ben, which was pretty fun. But we didn't want to take water from the pond because it was still water and it was pretty nasty. But we still had some water, but the big issue was that Mitch had done the logistics, and he was pretty sure that the path from Nippletop to Dial would
that
only
does look like a nipple.
Yeah, it does, right? But the path from there would be primarily downhill with like a slight uphill. But it was a lot more uphill to Dial than we expected, and then also after Dial, Mick had thought it was all downhill, but there was more uphill that led to some lookout kind of area.
Oh boy.
So now, by this time, because I'm going slower because I'm tired, also I've run out of water, we're all out of food, now we're all out of water, I'm going slower, it gets dark, and I very rapidly become, like, my condition deteriorates rapidly. Take water very seriously if you are a hiker. I think it was like the time span of an hour. I went from being coherent to I was like dizzy. I couldn't really stand straight. I would stumble. And after like a half an hour of that, I would walk and I was so exhausted. I was so just out of it. It was like being drunk. That I would like stumble, fall down, and I would just lay back and I would like micro sleep. I would just put my head back and fall asleep. And Ben or Mick would come over and like tell me, get the fuck up, you can't stop. They'd wake me up, and it got to the point where I actually just couldn't walk. Ben though is a absolute unit, and he gave his bads and shit to Mick, and Mick was carrying all of our bads, and Ben came and battle buddy carried me for like a quarter mile down the mountain, while Mick went ahead and found water. We actually got really lucky because we kept overestimating the distance we had traveled. So we thought that we were 1.5 miles to the trailhead, but we were actually 3 miles to the trailhead at one point. But Mick found a stream that was lightly moving, like halfway down the trailhead, like the trail, and we refilled water there. After I drank like, if you have, like the normal size Gatorade bottles, I drank like up to that ring that's up by where you hold it, basically. Mm-hmm. Drink that much water, and it was like night and day. I was back instantly. I was able to walk. My fine motor skills were back. It's funny because I actually remember Ben like opened his bag and told me to grab the water bottle and walk with it and drink while we were walking. And I looked and I just grabbed it really easily. And he's like, wow, you're back to the world of living.
Well, back to being hydrated.
Like, keep in mind, all of this is in pure darkness. We have, like, headlamps and flashlights, but it's nighttime now. I'm sweaty and soaked. I had a poor clothing choice. I had wore cloth shirts because my shoulders were sore. I was, like, Ben was worried for a little bit that I was becoming hypothermic because I was complaining about being really... Well, it didn't make sense because I was complaining about being really cold, but he felt me and I was really hot. So, we're not sure what was up with that, but...
You're probably dehydrated.
Yeah, that's part of dehydration. Those are some of the symptoms of it.
But it was not a good time.
Like, shit.
That was a legitimate, like... search and rescue operation if I couldn't get down the hill. If we didn't have Ben there, if it was just me and Mick doing the hike, probably would have been a different story.
Well, the good
Nick
news
would be
is
running down the mountain by himself, screaming for help, and
Oh, there's no one there anymore. It's way too late. No one's there.
Well, I was gonna say the good news would have been that Blake kept me updated on like what peak he was at and like when he was leaving. So I feel like that would be, like, the good part, is that if, like, Mick texted me, like, we need help or something, I could easily call, like, a park ranger and be like, they are here. They are right here.
Yeah, like, this was the last known location, so they're in this radius.
Yeah, they were at this peak, and they were hiking down the trail path. And they would instantly, like, know where you guys were, but...
I mean, that's a hopeful estimation, but I was severely dehydrated, and it dropped to the point where we could see our breath. I probably would have died in, like...
Shit.
If I was left alone, like if I fell asleep and couldn't get up, which is, something that happens when you're dehydrated, I guess, because that's what was happening to me, I think I would have died that night.
Jesus.
You more than likely, because you had being dehydrated like that, and then with how cold it got, because your breathing's going to be different, everything's totally different, so yeah, that's fucking insane.
Not to mention why you're
But that's also a good story of, like, staying hydrated and don't fucking hike alone, like,
yeah,
unless people know where you are.
And what I was saying is, like, not only that, but you're dehydrated at different elevations, too. Like, you're going up, you're going down, you're going up, you're going down. That probably didn't help either.
Yeah, Ben thought for a little while that I had elevation sickness or altitude sickness because we were up for so long, up at about 4,000 feet, but I don't really know if you can get altitude sickness at that height. I'm not sure. It was just primarily the water.
Yeah. Yeah. Fun fucking story about how my boyfriend almost died. But yeah, for those who don't know the Battle Buddy carry, it's basically also called the fireman's carry. So just think of a fireman carrying someone. There you go. That's what was happening.
Slung me perpendicular to his shoulders over his shoulders. So my legs were hanging off of his right shoulder. My head and upper chest were hanging off of his left shoulder.
It's a very uncomfortable carry too.
Yeah, not very fun for either one of us. But he's the one who had to pick up a 150-pound fat piece of garbage.
Just a piece
that
of
couldn't
garbage.
walk. So.
I just looked it up, and symptoms of altitude sickness usually develop between 6 and 24 hours after reaching altitudes more than 2,500, so above sea level. And the symptoms are similar to those of bad hangover and include headache, feeling, and being sick. And then a lot of people are like, you don't have to be super high elevation to get it, and for every 3,000 feet you climb, you should rest at least a day at that height.
Damn.
You'll never get anywhere with that.
Sounds like a lazy person wrote that.
I know.
Yeah, lazy people who climbed Mount Everest.
That's good to know, though. Fun fact, we're learning stuff today, too.
We are. So, Ariann, how was your week?
Well, it was a lot combined into one, but I'm going to make it seem like it was not a lot. But it started out just, like, crazy life in general, you know, and then like one day everything just kind of happened. So we finally got the siding on the back of our house done, you know, so that's like awesome, good stuff, right? And then that night our dryer broke. So we're like, Jesus Christ, if it's not one thing, it's another, you know? So or we're like, all right, whatever. So then on the next day or something, yeah, I think it was the next day, it doesn't matter. But anyways, the next day, Monday, find out I thought I had to work Tuesday and Wednesday this week because I had my dates messed up. It was Monday and Tuesday.
Oh yeah, you messaged me like,
Monday,
I'm supposed to be in Vermont.
yeah. So Monday I was supposed to be in Vermont and Tuesday was Bolton Landing. Well, Monday comes around and at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I get an email from work saying, "Hey Ariann, just wanted to write and see if you're okay. We were told that no one showed up to the reset today." So it wasn't just me, it was also the other company that I'm supposed to boss around and tell what to do. They didn't show up either. So I'm like, what? And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And I looked at my schedule again. It said 3rd and 4th, and then I look at the date, Monday the 3rd. I was like, holy shit. So I called her immediately, and I'm like, I am so sorry. Like, I thought it was Tuesday and Wednesday. That's totally my fault. You know, so I'm going on and explaining. And I really thought that, you know, I was going to get in trouble or possibly even fired, you know, so I'm like super worried. And she goes, oh, no, it's okay. She's like, things happen. Don't worry about it. She's like, we were actually just worried about you because that's not like you. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I would go now, but I have the kids today. I was like, could I just do it tomorrow after Bolton? She's like, yeah, let me talk to Sean. I'll get back to you. So it turns out, you know, I end up going. I do Bolton Landing and Vermont in one day. And of course, this was yesterday during that amazing storm we were having. So I'm in Vermont, and it's just like pouring down rain. The power's in and out. South Vermont loses like all their power.
Oh, yeah,
and then the storm's just picking up. Yeah, and the storm's just picking up and picking up. So it took me 4 hours to get this fucking store done. When I text you, I was not joking that it was a mess. Typically, when I'm by myself, I can do these resets in like 2.5 hours. This one took me 4 fucking hours. So I'm like, all right, damn, like, I kind of want to get out of here because the storm's getting worse, and I still have to drive from fucking Vermont to get home. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right, whatever. So I finally get it done, and I head out, and I was going to stop at the vape shop real quick. So I stopped there just to see if because his mom needed something, and we were looking for menthol-flavored Juul pods, which they don't sell in New York. So I go up there, he's like, yeah, we have them. I'm like, oh, sweet. I was like, how much are they? And I know you don't smoke them, but like a 4-pack of Juul pods is, let's just say like $23 after taxes. So I'm like, okay, you know, expecting it's going to be about that, maybe cheaper. He goes, $35.99. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, for what? And he's like, for a 4-pack. And I was like, holy shit. He's like, yeah, Vermont did a 90% like upcharge on their vape products. And I'm like, okay.
Well, yeah,
I was like, never mind.
Everyone's outlawing. Even in Massachusetts, when we were in Massachusetts, Emily went to go get like, because I guess every time she's out, she gets her mom something. Her mom really likes like Marlboro, whatever, the cigarettes. And she was looking at the, like, chew. They don't even have chew flavors anymore. They were like, nope.
No, they can't do any tobacco flavors anymore. Yeah. So I'm like, holy shit.
Is the same.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, great. So I'm just driving home, and now I'm just pissed off about everything because, like, I'm driving in this fucking storm and that shit and everything else that's going on. So, like, finally get home, and I'm safe, and I'm like, all right, great. So I get home, come to find out that the day before, so I think it was Sunday then, right? Yeah, or no, Monday, excuse me. Monday, like, some family stuff happened that I won't talk about on here, but, like, some family stuff happened, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, guys, like, let's get our shit together, come on. And then I find out that my Uncle Steve, who is handicapped, he lives in a home, right? And it's one of like, they just have people there, and they kind of go about their life, but they have people there to make sure they don't get hurt, give them meds, feed them, so on and so on. So I don't know if you've met my Uncle Steve yet or not, but he was born, like, normal, and then got bit by a mosquito that was carrying something, and he ended up getting encephalitis from it. So he has, like, I don't know, he can talk, and he knows, like, right from wrong, but he's also almost mentally like a 7-year-old, but he acts like a teenager, and he's a dick. So, like, we were I guess at the house, he got into a fight with one of the guys that are there, like, the ones that, like, help run the house, and my Uncle Steve, who cannot walk that well, he has a walker and everything, he grabbed his walker, he packed a duffel bag, and left the fucking house. And was just walking around Warrensburg and with his walker and duffel bag in tow, and he's, like, falling all over the place and all this other stuff. And people up there know my mom in my mom's side of the family, so one of our family friends messaged my mom, and he's like, hey, just so you know, Steve's walking around Warrensburg and, like, fell on the road and stuff, and, you know, he has his duffel bag and he's not wearing a mask. And, you know, so of course we call my grandmother, and she goes to get him. And, like, all this shit's going on, and we're just like, why the hell did the house, like, let him leave? You know, he's not wearing a mask, he's, you know, can get hurt, everything like that. So we were all on, like, a manhunt to find my uncle, but luckily our family friend, like, stayed with him. So there was that, on top of the family stuff, on top of other stuff that happened here, and, like, everything was just kind of piling in, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe at one point something good will happen. Like, holy shit. So that was my week.
My God.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
mostly, like, just about him and being nervous, you know, but it's just, like, because he just takes off.
So let's break this down, yeah? So my week consisted of just pure injuries. Blake's week consisted of almost dying.
Yep.
And yours so far has consisted of everything breaking around you and going on a manhunt for your uncle.
Yes.
So what a terrible week.
Wait, and to top it off, by the way, so the whole point of me saying we got the siding on the back of our house done, during that fucking storm, all of a sudden now, mind you, you know, all the goddamn storms we've had and all the rain, now all of a sudden our ceiling is leaking.
Oh my God.
So our roof leaks now. Yep, and it's just one spot, and it was, I mean, because we got home, and we somehow thought Mac managed to move his crate, piss outside the crate, then move his crate back, which is not, that is actually very plausible because he's done it before. But, like, we thought maybe he peed on the floor, and so we're just like, all right, whatever. And then I sit on the couch, and the couch is a little bit wet. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, what is going on here? Then we look up, and there's, like, the, you know, the rings on the ceiling, and we still have these, like, what is it, garland or whatever, the Christmas lights that are, like, wrapped in the green stuff. We have those, like, around our ceiling, so, because they're a pain in the ass to put up. So we have that. I look up, and there's water dripping from one of them. The couch, onto the floor, like, everywhere, and I'm just like, great. So I go in to take a shower. There's a goddamn hole in our shower now on the ceiling that water was dripping through, and in the spare room, it's dripping down the wall. So I'm like, just fucking set the place on fire and let's start over again. Like, so yes,
Let's
there's
go
that.
to the woods and build a cabin.
Yeah, I'm about to. Like, I'm just about to set up a tent and say, fuck it, call it home. I'm just gonna fall out it, you know? Put a tent up, get a little grill outside, I'm done. Jesus. The dogs can be wild now. But yeah, so no near deaths or anything like that. Just everything fucking breaking and falling apart, and that's about it.
My God. Yeah. Okay, so real quick, we gotta take a break real quick because, oh my God.
Already? Holy shit, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna take a break, and then we'll come back with some conspiracy theories, and Ariann has one that she found that people are obsessed with, and we don't know why. But she's part of a Facebook page now, and she's just laying back and watching it all happen.
Stop.
And she can't stop. She's addicted. So we'll take a break real quick, and we will be right back.
So I found this page because my friend had posted a meme about this whole thing, and I was like, holy shit, I forgot I was actually a part of that page. So it started out, it's this, it's showing Christians against dinosaurs, and then it has another page that was made that's called Dinosaurs against Christians against dinosaurs. So I have already part of the dinosaur one, and I went to see the Christians against dinosaur, or CAD is what they call themselves, and I wasn't a part of it. So I applied to be on it. And first off, you should see the freaking questions that they have for you. And they finally let me in. So I was scrolling through their page, and this is a legit page, by the way. Like, people actually believe that dinosaurs are not real. And one of the things on here that this person posted was what had me just laughing. She posted, what happens, and it shows a picture of a whale on the beach, right? That's dead. She said, what happens to a whale when it washes up onto the beach? It suffocates under its own weight. Its body mass is so high that it becomes non-conductive to life. Please tell me how something even bigger wouldn't suffocate under the pressure of its own mass. I'll wait. Yep, that's exactly my reaction.
I'll let Blake take this one.
I mean, whales don't have a supporting bone structure that can handle that mass. Dinosaurs did.
Exactly.
And the air density was different when dinosaurs were alive.
Yeah. Yep. And, like, some of the comments in here, there's people that believe it, and then there's other people that are saying things like what you said, and they're like, well, the fact that it's for the water, it's a whole different situation, and they're like, should I even bother trying to explain this to you? So, like, that's just one of the posts. And then another one that I really liked was, and it was literally just because of one of the reaction, this guy's just going off saying, I can't believe we still have to say this with a fair amount of regular, oh my god, I can't talk, whatever. He's like, birds aren't dinosaurs, fish aren't dinosaurs, chickens, ravens, and he goes on naming all this stuff. And then he says, now quit being immature and either leave, learn, or shut the hell up. And one of the things he says is Jesus never rode a dinosaur. But Jesus himself was not a dinosaur. We believe in fossils, evolution, and science, and Ken Ham is an atheist troll. So someone in the comments explained this, and it's Jesus riding a raptor. So it's just, like, random shit like that. And there's, like, I have to get off this page real quick. I have to go back to their main one to find what I was talking about. But, like, some of the shit on here is so funny. And, like, people are just, like, so what about this? What about this? And they get, like, some of them are, like, super pissy. And they're kind of rude about it. And one of my favorite things is they constantly say that big paleo. So instead of big farm and stuff like that, it's big paleo. And they're going off saying that is the reason. So that's the reason for dinosaur bones, okay? It's because big paleo planted them there so that the government had a reason to get money for museums and different things like that. That's one of their arguments against this.
This is insane.
And yeah. So, like, they do, like, these random things, like, monkeys exist, atheists, that's my uncle. Like, they're literally picking on people who believe in evolution and everything like that. One guy posted, I got into an argument with my girlfriend last night about dinosaurs never existing. She refuses to believe this fact. Any help on how to deal with this would be greatly appreciated. And, like, just so much shit like this. And there was one post that I was trying to find for you. And, of course, I freaking lost it, and I really wanted to read it. But, like, one is, the largest flying reptile had a wingspan of over 10 meters, bigger than some private aircraft. What sort of updraft would that need to produce in order to get off the ground? How on earth would a creature that big even take off? So, like, they ask these questions, and yeah, and, like, they ask these questions that are, like, well written out, but they don't realize that it's easily arguable, you know? And, like, that picture I sent you about Noah's Ark.
Oh, yeah.
And it says, there's no way the dinosaurs could have fit on Noah's Ark. Through detailed analysis and scientific reasoning, the dino myth has been debunked once and for all.
There you go, Blake.
Oh, thank you. Did you send that?
Yeah.
Okay. But look at the front. This is my favorite part. If you look at the front, it says Noah's Suite or something. Like, Noah's something sweet.
Luxury suite.
Yes. And here it is. if dinosaurs were real, Big Paleo wouldn't be spending so much money hiring paid trolls to argue with us on Facebook groups. Think about it. And, like, they literally refer to them as Big Paleo. And, like, this is all I've been fucking doing is just scrolling through and reading a bunch of the comments. And, like, all this stuff, you should just see some of the shit because they, like, believe in it. And then so a lot of people are like, oh, are you guys also like flat earthers and things like that? And it's just, it goes on. And all I've been doing is just like scrolling. And then this one person goes, are dinosaurs taller than buses? Of course they are not, because they never existed. Like, they try to tell dad jokes in the group too.
Boomer jokes.
Yeah,
Boomer
it's just,
jokes.
it's amazing. And then, like, people post, like, legit things. Like, okay, well, how do you explain fossils? Okay, fine, but how do you explain, like, the skin? How do you do this? And, like, I don't know, it's just some of the shit. I was trying to find more because they are super hilarious, but I can't find the shit I wanted to read besides the whale one. I just thought the whale one was hilarious, and that's what, like, got me started.
I wonder what they think of dinosaur museums.
Oh, they think that it's just all for money. That's what Big Paleo is like, they think that it's just a lie so they can get money to fund museums and take more money from people.
So, it's actually funny because, coincidentally, I actually do know a little bit about this. It was just it was like a Joe Rogan podcast. He had an archaeologist on. And unfortunately, like, their reference to Big Paleo could have a somewhat, quote-unquote, realistic background. Basically, there was, in the history of archaeology, specifically with dinosaurs, there was this big rush, like the surge, when archaeology was huge. And it came down to these two main guys were competing. Like, they employed the majority of other, like, lower archaeologists, whatever. I don't remember their names. It's been a long time. But they weren't necessarily, like, faking and putting in, like, fake bones in places. But they would uncover bones and rapidly label them as a new dinosaur because they wanted to be the one to have the most discoveries.
Right.
But since then, archaeologists have gone back and refuted several of their findings and, you know, found that the bones were actually just a part of a dinosaur that was already known. So they were real dinosaur bones, but the archaeologists were competing with one another and wanted to outdo each other, and because of that, they put out a false information that it was a new dinosaur bone. And that has sort of bolstered this distrust in the archaeology community, I guess. Which could be, if they are actually referencing something real, which, knowing, like, by the sound of this group, they probably aren't. But if they are, then that could be what they're referencing.
No, that would make sense, though. Like, I don't want to give them any more fuel, but, like, that does make sense, because I know what you're talking about. I remember that, because that was a story a little while ago. They were talking about it. But, like, just some of their arguments, though, are so dumb. And I was trying to find one. I just don't know how she worded it. The one that actually made me laugh was they showed, like, a picture of dinosaurs, like, different ones. And they're like, if dinosaurs were real, how did they mate? And I'm trying to find this because it is so fucking funny. And now, of course, I can't. So I'm going to be looking through that while we're talking just because I want you guys to see the picture. But, like, yeah, so that's what I've been doing with my life. And that's why I was also late getting on, because I was just scrolling through this nonsense because it's just amazing. And I feel like everyone should join this. Like, Leah, I really need you to join it and read through some of this stuff. But my absolute favorite thing that they keep saying, and Blake, I think you'll like this, is when someone's trolling, because obviously there's a lot of trolls, or someone disagrees, they call you an atheist Satanist.
What?
Yeah, that's their favorite thing. And I'm just like, I told Leah that, she started laughing, and I'm like, and every time they post that, I'm like, that's not a thing. And I'll keep saying, like, stop trying to make fetch happen, and I keep saying stuff to them, and I'm like, that's not a thing. And the best part is if you post memes in this group, your comment gets deleted or you get banned, because they are not here for you to post memes. So, like, there's not a lot of memes in this group either. So I just want you to know that. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing with my time, is trying to, like, because I was genuinely interested on what they thought. You know what I mean? And, like, what their thought process, and, like, how dinosaurs never existed, and they're like, when you ask them, like, well, do you have any evidence that, like, you know, they didn't? And they don't say anything about it, and they're just like, do you have any evidence they did? And people are like, yeah, we do. And so, like, then they say that it's big paleo that planted all the bones and everything else. So, yeah, no matter what you try to say, they always argue against you, and they never answer you. They'll only, like, argue with you and use stuff from the Bible. So, yeah, that's my day. Oh, but Leah, I did find out one new cool thing in here.
What?
I didn't know that Adam had a wife before Eve, Lilith, and he got rid of Lilith because she refused to lay with him. And I'm like, so let me get this straight.
Yeah.
Adam kicked his wife away because she refused to have sex with him, and that's okay?
Yeah,
but, like, you guys are against adultery, which means that the husband cheated because the wife wouldn't, like, you know, lay with him. That's usually the excuse of men, right?
Yeah.
So that's not okay. But Adam could just boot his wife out because she wouldn't have sex with him?
Yeah, the lore is she wouldn't have sex with him because she was in love with Lucifer. So he kicked her out, got with Eve, and then Lilith went with Lucifer, but because she did that, she became his basically right-hand duchess, I guess.
Okay.
So that's
yeah, well,
so she
I didn't know
became
that.
demonized. Yeah. But Adam and Lilith was the first
But in the old viewings, isn't Lucifer represented by a snake?
Yeah.
Yes. Because that's
so
the whole
Lucifer
She fucking takes a look at that big ass snake. She's like, God damn, I want
yeah,
that.
so the lore is that Lucifer was the snake that was like kind of like being like, hey, take a bite of the apple. And Lilith was the first one to bite out of the apple. And saw Lucifer's true form, became in love with him, and then God made Eve. And then, yeah, Eve ate the apple, and then, yeah, something like that. Lilith,
Hold on.
I know Lilith did what the fuck was it? I know Lilith fell in love with Lucifer, and that's where Adam and Eve came to play, and then Eve ate the apple, and then gave women menstrual cycles, I guess. I guess that's a fucking justification of why we bleed. Is she bit an apple.
Oh god, someone ate an apple from the Forbidden Garden, and now we're all doomed. Hold up there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, did you see that? So I was scrolling through, and I found a post that said, oh, a longtime believer, blah, blah, blah. And they used one of his quotes that actually had nothing to do with this in their cause.
They're using John Bon Jovi for Christians Against Dinosaurs? That's amazing.
Yep. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just scrolling through, because I'm trying to find that one picture for you guys. And, like, people just keep posting pictures of Jesus riding a dinosaur, and everyone gets, like, super mad about it. A pastor who refuses to tell his congregation about the dinosaur lie is shameless, pushing the spiritual disabled into hell. Do you want to see that picture too?
Sure.
Hey! Sorry, had to yell at a dog. They're doing something. Something crashed. There. But yeah, so anyways, I'll stop ranting about that because I will go on forever. I'm just gonna let Blake talk, and I'm gonna look for those pictures, and if I find anything interesting, I'll send it to you guys.
Jesus. So Blake, tell us about some conspiracy theories you want to talk about.
Oh, well, the first one might hit home for you ladies. All right, and that the female pants industry has conspired by purposely not giving women's pants pockets.
Yeah, so we'll buy purses.
Yes, they've conspired with the purse industry so that you would buy purses to store your things.
What?
100% fucking agree with that.
And then to further convolute it, right? They perhaps had some sort of disagreement, or maybe the pants industry decided to go rogue. And they began introducing pants that did have pockets. So that then every time, like, you go to the store, because I've always heard my whole life, when chicks talk about pants, they're like, look, it has pockets. It's like, that is a non-thing for guys. My pockets...
I did that to you.
Like, cargo shorts are all pocket.
I did that to Blake when I got new shorts from the mall, and they were female. I was like, oh my god, I got pockets! Like, I was so psyched.
That with Josh all the time. I'm like, holy shit, my phone, my wallet, and all my stuff can fit in my pockets. He's like, oh, that's good. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. And I showed him the difference in some of the pockets, and then I showed him some of the jeans that have fucking fake pockets on them. What the fuck? Who is that for? You know? Like, that, just don't put anything there. But anyways, sorry.
Yeah, no, so... Maybe there's like a war going on between the pants and the purse industry. Now you're going to see women's pants are going to have more pockets.
Notice actually the new ones I bought do have pockets. They have deeper pockets actually. Like I could fit my entire hand in my front pocket.
Maybe we'll never know. Never know.
It's I believe it though.
The big pants industry keeping women down.
Leo, you're worried about him dying on a mountain. Now the fucking purse ladies are gonna come after him.
If I'm dead tomorrow, you know why.
Yep.
So one we talked about one last time that was proven true. This is another one. Probably learned this one in history class if you remember it.
Mm-hmm.
But the United States joined World War One. Began arming to join the war after a singular event, which was the sinking of the Lusitania, which was it was an American cruise liner ship that traveled between the U.S. And docked at the UK. In World War One, the UK was fighting against the Germans. Right, so the cruise liner actually went out, and it was posed as just having people on it, right? And the even more ridiculous thing is that the German government bought newspaper ad space in several, or at least one, American newspaper, warning people, like warning the U.S. populace, that if they were to take a cruise, like a transatlantic cruise that would go towards the UK, then they would be at risk of being collateral damage, being shot and sunk, right? So the German government warns us, the government, and the populace as well. Our private companies decide to send the ship anyways. They send the ship with quote-unquote passengers on it. There were actual passengers on it. The ship gets sunk by a German U-boat. The U.S. gets outraged, and we begin arming to join World War I as an actual fighting force. But later, it is found, and at the time, it was theorized, that the United States had secretly been shipping arms and munitions within the hull of the Lusitania to sell to the UK. And later ballistics tests confirm that a U-boat torpedo hit the hull of the Lusitania, but the reason and did severe damage, but the actual reason why there was such a large explosion and so much damage was because it ignited powder or munitions within the hull. So we were secretly shipping weapons to Germany's enemies. Germany warned us every step of the way what would happen. They went through their word, and then we went to war with them and acted like we were the ones at fault.
That sounds about right.
Not so much conspiracy, because that is downright proven.
Yeah, but still, it's still interesting to learn about. Like, I really don't remember too much about that in school. But I'm not gonna lie, history or anything to do with that, I kind of just zoned out. I really wasn't into it. So I like listening to it now because I actually understand it. So that was really cool to hear about.
Yeah, still, the whole argument of free trade gets convoluted, especially on on open water when war is going on. So you can argue that it was still, no matter what, not right for the Germans to sink them, but that was essentially, that was a valid military target for them. We were supplying weapons and munitions to their enemies. That is a valid target. But when it was posed to get the public to join the cause, to join the war, it was posed like they murdered a bunch of civilians.
Yeah.
Which they did. There were actual civilian passengers on it. It was just that those companies were also shipping munitions. So, yeah, essentially using the human populace as dummy targets, or as like just betting that they won't shoot the passenger boat because it's a passenger boat. Which is
jokes on
I
them.
don't think they really care. Obviously they did not. Like, you're giving weapons to their enemies. They don't care about other humans. What's 50, 100 people compared to their whole country? Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it was a valid military target, and you can say, well, it was a poor decision to sink the boat because it brought the U.S. into the war, but it already looked like the I don't remember if they were the Axis powers or not in World War One. Can't remember what they're actually, like, their title was. But anyways, they were already looking like they were losing the war. The Allied forces were winning, just slowly but surely. But the United States came and really, really sped up that process.
The U.S. was like, what? And just started attacking everyone.
Yeah, so crazy times. I always like the ones where it's our government and it's proven. I like to think with things like they declassify things. Well, we're getting some of the JFK information like a couple of years ago. So it's like, what, 60-ish years, 40-ish years they declassify things. I'm interested when I'm like in my 60s what I'll read. It turns out people were talking about.
I want to know if Al Gore was serious about some stuff.
Turns out global warming is a thing.
Yeah.
Another military one. This one's like a little sketchier. I don't have that much information on it at the top of my head, but it's rumored that the Denver airport is either a secret military base, and people like to say that it's the real Roswell. Like, Roswell is probably not testing very much super secret stuff anymore. Probably some secret stuff, but not a lot because it's so well known. Right? But essentially, there are reports that Denver Airport gets like almost double the funding that it requires to be a functional airport of that size, which it gets from the government, and it's also got a ridiculously over-the-top power supply and deep ground air ventilation, all these weird things that would lead you to think that there's more going on there, just in general. Like, much more funding, much more power. Air ventilation seems to point to, like, bunkers underground, right? So, maybe it's not, like, a super secret Roswell, but it could be a place to send, like, the president or other top officials, like an underground safety bunker, in the event of some catastrophe. Who knows? But it's
that's so weird.
It's a little weird if you look up some info on it. Maybe there's rational explanations, but
there's not. There's never going to be.
There's no rational explanations ever.
Jesus.
But I mean, I think that's interesting because people always focus on Roswell, right? Because people love that, like the alien time, like the times when everyone saw aliens, everyone saw UFOs. The thing that I like to point out on that is that was almost certainly a cultural thing. Now that we've got phones that have extremely good recording software, extremely high resolution imaging for like pictures and video. But on top of that, we also have a whole entire new, like, generations have gone by since the whole alien craze.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, we don't see alien things anymore. And when we do, they're obviously fake. Right? Like,
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
CGI.
Because remember those what is it, the old magazines in the stores when we were kids? We'd always look at the cover of them, and you remember like the Bat Child was a huge thing for a while. The Bat Kid. Do you guys remember him, or are you not old enough for that?
I don't
remember.
remember that.
It was something about a kid that was born and had like super pointy ears and almost looked like a bat, kind of. And like those magazines, they always are the ones who have like all these things like, oh, Princess Diana is still alive, those ones. And like they did like that kind of stuff, and they were always the ones that had the crop circles on them and alien sightings, and like would do interviews with the people who said that they saw like all the aliens and everything. And like now they don't do that anymore. Like there's nothing about aliens or UFOs really or anything like that. And you have a great point, because now it's like we can kind of record everything, and the stuff that is recorded, like you're saying, it's easy to explain, either like some kind of plane or Photoshop, something like that.
Speaking of Photoshop, plane, and all that, I looked up some crazy conspiracy theories, and I found that Hillary's campaign logo is a reference to 9/11, and here you go.
Yep. I saw. I'm looking at one.
It's literally like the two part of the H, like each side of the H is like blue, so it looks like the Twin Towers, and then the arrow for like the middle of the H, they put like a plane, so it's like her logo is referencing 9/11. And I found another one. April is the government's blood sacrifice season.
I believe it.
Okay.
I believe it.
Okay.
The moon does not exist.
Yep, I see that
Ooh.
one.
According to this conspiracy theory, the moon does not exist and is only a hologram created to fool everyone on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I found another one. Blah, blah, blah. It has a lizard people that Barack Obama could control the weather. Elvis.
One about Jay-Z is a time-traveling vampire.
What?
Yeah,
No.
because I have the Obama ones on here too, and then I have Jay-Z is a time-traveling vampire, something about time cube, today is 4 days at once. I don't know if we're on the same one or not, and like the earth is hollow, things
no.
like that, but yeah, I'm looking up crazy shit.
I have Obama is Malcolm X's son.
Oh.
Let's see. Oh, American Pie by Don McLean predicts satanic communist takeover of America.
Yes.
I like that one. I found
I got
Elvis
it
Presley's
confused.
alive. Hang on, I want to read this one because maybe Blake will get it. I don't get it. Phantom time hypothesis. A historical conspiracy theory basically states that 297 years of our history doesn't exist, that the events from 614 to 911 have been faked, and that includes the entire Carolingian whatever period and the figure of Charlemagne.
I've never heard of that. That's weird.
Yeah, one of the main reasons we shouldn't believe these 297 years actually took place is the scarcity of archaeological evidence from that time period. Although there are many people who believe this theory, historians rejected the proposal. So people are saying that we're missing like 297 years of our time, or like it just didn't happen. Like we just made it up.
A lot of our basis on ancient history. Now, I don't think 600. You said the time frame is like 600 to 900 AD, right?
Blah, blah, blah.
That's
614 AD to 911. 911.
That's not. Oh, there's the real conspiracy right there. I don't think that counts as ancient times, but a lot of our like recounts on times from like BC, so like Alexander the Great and his Macedonian army, his great army that conquered the world, and reports on the Persian Empire. I'm pretty sure their sources are sketchy at best.
Oh, yeah.
And ancient historians they're just like, dude, don't know what else to tell you. It's been like 2,000 years, and they didn't exactly have a lot of the knowledge to preserve things, right? So the idea that a lot of history especially that old, is sort of pieced together with, like, letter strappings. It made sense to me.
I do you guys remember turning frogs gay or whatever like that with Alex?
Turning the frogs gay.
Yes, the first one on here is chemicals in the water turning people gay, and it talks about Alex Jones and how he said the government is putting chemicals in the water that are turning people into homosexuals. Then he later changed the theory by saying that the chemical, also known as gay bomb, is even turning the frogs gay. And someone left a comment saying, it's turning the freaking frogs gay.
I think the chemical he was talking about was, it's the one that, well, it's used in teeth cleaning products. Fluoride. It's like there's trace amounts of fluoride in our water. They use it to clean the water.
Yeah. He was saying that was a chemical?
Yeah, I believe so.
I feel like there's a Parks and Rec episode where, like, Leslie was like, oh, there's fluoride in the water, and then people were, like, freaking out. So then she had to change it to, like, drizzle for your mouth or something like that with Tom. And it was basically just fluoride, but they made it sexy. So, like, people wanted to drink water. It was really weird.
You, like, you cannot tell people things like, if you mention some chemical name that they are, like, almost completely unaware of or have slightly heard of before, and you mention that they're drinking it, they will freak the fuck out. It's like time and time again that is true. That is why the government doesn't tell us all the fucking things.
It's like
people,
when you eat hot dogs and people go, you know, that's a mixture of, like, all sorts of intestines and things like that from a pig, and they're like, it's in their mouth, and they're like, what? Like, yeah, you've eaten this, like, get over it.
People don't react well to information like that. It's strange.
Oh, like the, what is it, gum that has horse hooves in it or something like that?
Gelatin is made from
Jello.
hoof.
Yes.
Well, just gelatin. Gelatin's in a lot of things.
Ariann's worst nightmare.
Yep.
Several thickening agents are used, or have animal products like horse hooves, pig hooves in them.
Maybe you're just afraid
That's
of
why
hooves, Ariann.
can't have Jello. Huh?
Maybe you're just afraid of hooves.
No, I don't like a powder that turns into a liquid that turns solid. It makes no sense scientifically.
I mean, it does.
It doesn't. I don't like it. It's just fucking stupid.
Let's talk about white chocolate.
No, it's not, because fuck that too. That'll just piss me off even more. Sorry, I got lost in reading about how Michael Jackson was killed by the Iranian government. I was reading that and, like, listening to you guys talking about that, and then as soon as you said Jello, I was like, I'm out. I'm sick. I can't do this.
You took a Jello shot once when you were drunk.
I did, and then it didn't stay down, but...
No, you peeked it out, but...
Yeah, but I tried, because there was alcohol involved. And then, like... I forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah, I'm gonna send you a picture real quick. I know it's gonna make a bleep noise, but I want you to see this because I found it. I don't know if that's gonna work. Does that work?
It's a link.
Yeah, I'll just click on it.
Nah, damn it.
Oh,
it didn't work. Hold on.
Can't see it.
I know.
Real quick, Avril Lavigne was replaced by a clone named Melissa. Paul McCartney was replaced by a clone. Elvis Presley.
They actually think all of the they think all the Beatles were fake. They don't think the Beatles were real. They think that they were all like replaced with different actors, and they, like, a lot of people will sit there. It's almost like the whole thing with Trump's wife there, that, like, the body size is different and things like that, and they go on saying how there's, like, slight differences in all the Beatles. Jesus. So they don't think the Beatles were actually, like, just, you know, the one person's. It was a bunch of different people making them up.
Nigeria's president is a clone. Why does everyone a fucking clone?
Illuminati.
I want a clone.
Lizard people.
Oh, I found crazy conspiracy theories that turned out to be true.
That's right up Blake's alley.
It is. Let's see. The Dead Baby Project.
Yeah.
The conspiracy was the government was stealing dead bodies to do radioactive testing. The truth is the government was stealing parts of dead bodies because they needed young tissue. They recruited a worldwide network of agents to find recently deceased babies and children and then take samples and even limbs, each collected without notification or permission from more than 1,500 grieving families. My God.
Yeah, it would be really strange because the baby would die, and then the parents would bring it over to the morgue, but then they would be told that they couldn't look at the baby, that they had to have a closed casket funeral, and they weren't allowed to look inside, even though the baby would die in sudden infant death syndrome situations where there's nothing bodily wrong with them. There's no reason why you wouldn't be able to look at them.
Yeah.
I have heard that one before.
The Dalai Lama's... Oh, sorry. Continue.
I do have one more.
Okay.
That is pretty fleshed out, and this one is for sports fans.
Ooh.
So, if you guys didn't know, Michael Jordan is like one of the all-time stars of the NBA, right?
Yeah.
But did you know that in 1994 he stopped playing basketball and began playing baseball?
I did know that. I forgot what team, though.
Went on, it was like a minor league team, like the Bears or something, that was linked to the White Sox. But, right, he had a quote-unquote retirement in 94 from basketball and began playing baseball. But right around the same time, he had gambling problems. Known gambling problems, right?
Yeah.
The gambling problems aren't in question. He was a known gambler, and it was known that it was like an issue in his life. There's also rumors that his father was murdered because of gambling-involved affairs. But the actual conspiracy is that Michael Jordan was a household name and major star of the time and of the NBA, and he had potentially either thrown a game to make money off of gambling, or had broken the league's rules on gambling on games, and because of that, they essentially suspended him, but they didn't make it public, and they had him move to baseball so that his name would still be in the light. And it wouldn't darken his name, it wouldn't darken the NBA's name, it would keep it all hushed. And then, I think it was like 3 years later, when his suspension ended, they let him rejoin basketball again. He came back and played for like another 3 years.
Jeez.
But, yeah, it's questionable.
I did hear that one. I think I was listening to Free Beer and Hot Wings, maybe, and they were actually talking about it. That's one of the things that was up with him, and it was Birmingham Barons that he played for.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I had to look it up because it was bothering me because I couldn't remember. But yeah, they were talking about that he had really bad gambling debts, and it was they either thought it was him or it was debts not paid off from his father or something. And that's why he went to baseball, was to throw a game or something. I don't know, pretty much what you said, but it was so weird, and they were talking about it, and I'm like, really? He doesn't have enough money to pay that off? If it was a debt? Really?
Sorry,
I struck a deal with them or something. He had a lot of money, But it's
I started laughing because I'm scrolling through these theories that have been proven true, and one of them is Canada tried. Oh, excuse me. Let me read this. The Canadian government was so paranoid about homosexuality that it developed a gaydar machine. It's true. In the 1960s, the government hired a university professor to develop a way to detect homosexuality in federal employees. He came up with a machine that measured pupil dilation in response to same-sex erotic imagery. The Canadian government used it to exclude or fire more than 400 men from the civil service, military, and Mounties. Oh my God, what?
About is the episode of The Office where Jim sends the gator on his
That's
all I can think about.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
metal
too.
detector. Here, let me see if this works.
Oh, Blake, you might like this one. It's called Fake Battle, Real War. Conspiracy... Is that a T-Rex Hitler? That's funny.
From the group, I'm sorry, it made me laugh. Alright, anyways.
It's called Fake Battle, Real War. The conspiracy is the Gulf of Tonkin incident on August 2nd, 1964 was faked to provoke American support for the Vietnam War. The truth is, the facts surrounding the North Vietnamese attack on the American naval ship Maddox were already fuzzy. Declassified intelligence documents have since revealed that the Maddox has provided support for South Vietnamese attacks on a nearby island, and that the North Vietnamese were responded in kind, or I guess they were just responding. According to the U.S. Naval Institute, the event opened the floodgates for direct American military involvement in Vietnam. Similarly, there are some crazy aviation conspiracy theories people also believe. So, yeah, it wasn't a real battle, but it sparked American involvement, apparently, in the Vietnamese War. Interesting.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Jesus, what the hell?
I love hearing about this stuff. It's
All right,
amazing. My favorite one is like where they think that like Hitler's still alive and like all these people are still alive. Yeah,
I
and they like
believe it was a body double that got shot, and he lived out his life with his wife Eva or whatever in another country. Because there's evidence he was there while she was pregnant. By the way,
yeah,
she had kids. So, can we talk about that?
Well, that and like she like her hobby was just making lampshades out of human skin. So could you imagine like she's got her like kids running around and she's just sewing, you know, human skin lamps, and Hitler's out in the garden picking some flowers and corn for the meal tonight. Like that's the shit I think about. And I'm like, man, what kind of life did he have after that whole thing? You know?
Yeah.
Like what was he doing?
I totally believe that he didn't kill himself. He escaped and died in old age. Totally believe.
I mean, it sounds like it's fun to fantasize about that, but I don't think so. That dude was at his core fucking insanely devoted to Germany and his ideals of a perfect Germany.
Yeah.
There's no way that he would just leave and go into
let it go.
What if
because he got away with it?
What if he was hypnotized by the body double and said, Jews aren't the problem, it's corn. So then he just escaped, flew out, and just got lost in like a corn picking field.
What
saying,
if
like,
MK Ultra
corn
actually started prior to World War II, and they knew how to mind control people, and they mind controlled Hitler?
I see it.
Exactly.
I see it.
Irrefutable
You're
evidence.
saying that my dog is not happy. One of the dogs just started barking, and he was like, whoa. So either they agree with you, or he's really mad at you.
I found this
The dog's actually a listening device.
Yeah.
He knows I know.
It's a government.
Red alert!
Red alert! Eyes just turned red. Oh my god. I found this last one real quick that I was starting and then I just never finished.
They're all staring at me now.
Uh-oh. It was the... What? Uh-oh. It was the Dalai Lama's impressive salary. The conspiracy is the Dalai Lama was actually a CIA agent. And the truth was that the reason the Dalai Lama is smiling in all the photos has something to do with the six-figure salary he pulled from the U.S. government during the 1960s. According to declassified documents, he earned $180,000 in connection with the CIA's funding of the Tibetan resistance to the tune of $1.7 million per year.
Well,
the idea was to disrupt and hamper China's infrastructure. So yes, basically it's true that Dalai Lama was an agent, and they were paying him to disrupt China's infrastructure. That didn't he set himself on fire? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
No.
Who set himself on fire?
It was just a monk. It was
a random monk.
I believe it was a Tibetan monk, but it was not the Dalai Lama.
That would have been hysterical. Hey, we'll pay you $1 million bajillion to set yourself on fire. Don't worry, we'll put you out. He's on fire. They're just over there, like, lighting their cigarette off of him. Oh, speaking of cigarettes, Big Tobacco knew that cigarettes cause cancer. That's true.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh, shit.
They admitted that smoking would cause cancer in the 1950s. No one listened.
It wasn't a Tibetan monk. It was a Buddhist monk.
Oh.
His name was Tuan Duc. Burned himself to death in Saigon.
I was just gonna say it. Yep.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. All right, we have time for one more theory. One more crazy theory. Come on, people.
I'm all out.
Come on, Ariann.
I'm actually kind of interested in the fact that, I mean, aside that dinosaurs didn't really exist, but what's the whole thing about the moon not existing? Like, what would that do for us? You know what I mean? Like, what's the long game in that of the moon not existing?
I don't know.
Like, why do we need to have the moon? You know what I mean? Like, I don't
tidal
know.
pressure. So
are you asking?
No. I know why we need the moon. I'm not saying that.
Gravitational pull?
I'm not saying that. I fucking love science. I know that. I'm saying, like, what's the long con of there's not a real moon, it's fake.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, what does that benefit anything?
Probably the same people that still want to disprove that we didn't go to the moon. And that it was fake.
You got me there. And I don't know. I don't know if I believe that.
What, the moon
Oh,
landing?
that's a decent conspiracy.
Yeah, that's a decent one.
You
Yeah,
want me to look
I
it up
don't
real
know if I believe it.
This is my take on the conspiracy, right? Because people have shown or proven that some of the photos taken from, quote unquote, taken by the moon landing crew were doctored. That they were touched up, they were fake. Now, to put some clarity on it, doctoring photos or touching them up, doctoring was not...
Internet in America.
Something's happening! Okay, continue. An ad came up and started playing, so you'll hear that in the podcast. Anyways, continue.
At that time, doctoring photos did not mean exactly the same thing it does now, where now you can add in a like CGI alien that looks decently real, right? Doctoring back then just sort of meant brightening something so you could see it more easily, and it was commonplace. But some of the photos were really sketchy whether or not they could have worked. Now, here's what I think is that, or with the technology that they had, which was film reel technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
That supposedly would not be able to survive being out in space. The shielding would not work, so the film would come out not correct. What I think happened is they sent them up there. They really did land on the moon. They really did put the flag there. Everything really did happen. They came back, and the film was fucked up, or some of it was fucked up, and they faked that pictures to make it
that's
look real.
good. That's good. I like that. That I can get on board with. I like that one.
I found 5 reasons why it's fake. And I'm just going to name the reasons real quick. Basically, what Blake said is the moon landing is fake because the American flag looks like it's flapping in the wind. There is no wind on the moon. The moon landing is fake because you can't see any stars. The moon landing is fake because the shadows aren't right in the photographs. 4, the moon landing is fake because you can't see Armstrong's camera. In like one of the pictures, you are looking at like an astronaut's visor, but you can't see the camera that's pointed at him. But in defense, you could see an astronaut across from him holding something, so let's talk about that. The moon landing is fake because Stanley Kubrick filmed it.
Right, they did have
Stanley.
They had Stanley Kubrick working with them as well. The moon landing happened. Okay,
it did. Yeah, we have proof that it happened.
It's just the evidence to show the public. They may not have had the supporting technology to protect, like, the film. They were still using picture film there, right? There's a lot of arguments that picture film in the capsule would not have been, or if they were to pull the cameras out, they would not have been able to actually protect the film from the radiation exposure in space. I've heard a lot of good backing to that. I'm sure there was a real moon landing, but the pictures for it to show the public that it happened may not have been.
Hold up, I'm going to post something. You guys have to see this. So, I was going through, like, the moon landing conspiracies, and there's one that's, it's like how they're debunked, and one says it's debunked because it made Buzz Aldrin so mad. And here's a video of Buzz Aldrin getting so mad about moon landing conspiracy theories.
Dude.
Yeah, he punched a conspiracy theorist in the face. Yeah. So there's that video for you. Everyone
So
can
that's
Google
real
it.
rage then.
That's
yeah,
real
that's
rage.
definitely a real.
And
yeah.
they got radiation poisoning, all that stuff. But yeah. Oh, and it says it can't be faked because there's too many people that were involved for it to be kept quiet, that it wasn't real.
Yeah,
So,
that's the other thing with all conspiracy theories, right? Conspiracy theories are fun, but when I look back at them, almost always the main thing you have to ask is why? Who does it benefit?
Right.
And then the other thing you have to ask is how many people were involved. Once you get to these theories where you're involving an entire organization of people, it gets really questionable. People slip up all the time.
oh yeah, like if you, like, Blake, go to work, and you only work for 5 other people, but like say you go to work, and you say one truth and one lie, guarantee you they're gonna spread it. Like, tell, like, their girlfriends or their family. Like, they're not gonna keep it to themselves, especially if you're like, you can't tell anyone about this. Odds are they're gonna tell someone. Like, oh, I found out today. Like, if it's hard to keep, like, that small amount of group of people quiet, I can't imagine, like, groups of 1,000 or, like, hundreds.
You know damn well that people have been saying, for $10 million, if you tell us what really happened, you know what I mean? So, like, get an exclusive, like, money can buy anybody. You know what I mean? Like, so, come on, you're telling me
$10,000 and it was like, hey, Coda, relax. That, hey, just to let you know, there's a hidden camera in your phones that, like, reads your DNA and, like, whatever. I don't know. Just come up with something.
You mean a fingerprint scanner on your phones.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's real. But then someone came up to me and said, if you tell me what he told you, I will give you $1 million. I'd be like, oh, fuck yeah, he told me. Like,
that's what I'm saying, though. But, like, I was reading, it says, there's this whole thing that says, like, why the moon landing did happen, and they're saying, like, but the flag is blowing in the wind, there's no wind on the moon, the wind is clearly from a cooling fan in the studio, or was it filmed in a desert? And someone's like, it isn't. After the flag is let go, it settles gently, and then doesn't move at all in the remaining footage. Also, how much wind is there inside a TV studio?
They're in space. There's nothing to weigh the flag down. If it was left, if they outstretched it and then let go of it perfectly, you'd have to do it perfectly because, again, if you, like, slightly pulled up when you let go, then it will have that motion going towards. There's no well, there's a slight amount of resistance on the moon, but
yeah, but that works out. Yeah,
I believe that flag also was wired so that it would stand out like that.
Right. So it was good for the picture.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, I think we should call it there. Unless you have one last thing to say.
I was just gonna say, like, I just like saying stuff like that, especially when Blake's around, because it gets him going. So I like being like, I don't believe in it, and then he's just like, well, and then he goes off, and I thought it would be really good. So
you do the same thing with me, though.
I do, yeah.
Just agree on me with shit that you agree on, but you just want to get me going.
Yep, pretty much, because it's really fun for me.
Oh my god, you are an antagonizer. Okay, we're going to end the podcast here. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember, we post every Thursday on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Music, Google Music, iHeartRadio, podcast, shit, whatever. Podchaser, Spreaker, you know it. And, hi, Russians. Also, shout out to Andrew Keeter, my cousin, who admitted to me on the beach he listens to our podcast frequently.
Aw, so, thank you.
Shout out to Andrew. I was supposed to do that earlier. Totally forgot. Sorry.
Wait, is that the one I drink with?
Yes. That's the one.
Yay! My PBR best friend.
But yes, we post every Thursday. We will see you next Thursday. I'm going to try to get a hold of an old friend of mine who is a rapper and get him on here. He is breaking even right now for fucking everything. He's got a movie contract, album contract, TV contract for them to use his music and everything. He just dropped a new song, and he's gonna drop a new one in a month or two with another person that is actually pretty big right now. So I'm gonna try to get him on to talk about his journey and stuff. Hopefully that happens. He's pretty cool, and that's about it.
Awesome.
All right, peace out.
Bye.
I hate all of
Bye bye.